the SAF disbursement arm of the WSA, exhausted its funds it was allowed to distribute. How do you plan to ensure that RSOs can receive funding for events year-round?
Moving forward, I believe it's extremely important that the staff dollars last all year. It's important that different RSOs out here on campus have the availability to receive funding for different events that happen from September all the way to April. There should be no reason that RSOs only have funding until February. So moving forward, we've planned on overseeing the budget of the allocations committee a little more closely. As vice president and president of the WSA next year, we will have that availability to do so. And it's extremely important as well for administration to look over the budget as well. We are planning to have a little bit of a cushion next year for the staff dollars in the allocations committee, because as the current treasurer, I've made a budget for this year, and we made sure that there was a nice cushion just in case we ran into a problem with funding. So going forward, we are planning to oversee the allocations committee a little more closely.
In terms of allocations, we agree with Lauren and Zach. Allocations should last the full year, and it's very unfortunate that it ran out so early. It's partially a good thing because it means that RSOs are utilizing the staff, but at the same time, we definitely think it ran out too early. So there are several things we will be doing. We want to appoint a fair and objective allocations chair for next year's cabinet. We're excited for the guidelines that they're going to rewrite. We would like them to rewrite the guidelines in a way where a cap is put on each month and how much funding can be given away. They start out with about $200,000 each semester. We're not suggesting the cap be as low as $50,000 because we know at the end of each semester programming is less, but maybe at $75,000 or $100,000 so the money doesn't run out again. There's lots of things we have in place to make the allocations fund more user-friendly as well, such as having a website where at all times it will be monitored by the allocations committee. The dollars and cents available to RSOs will be listed.
As Erin mentioned, this goes along with our transparency part of our administration. We want the allocations committee to monitor a website with frequently asked questions, past budget, and most importantly, the total amount of dollars and cents that are available to RSOs at any given time.
The most important thing about the allocations fund is that an effective follow-up process is implemented for every RSO that obtains funding. This is said by candidates year after year, but it's never happened. The WSA is allocating nearly $500,000 to these RSOs coming from every student's pocket. There needs to be an effective follow-up process that says, where did you struggle? What can we fix for next month? How can we make this process more user-friendly? And it will say, did you spend the money responsibly? How did your program go?
Zach and I agree with everything that Erin and Haley have said thus far. But another thing we'd like to add as well is that we really would like to see more transparency with the allocations process. As Zach alluded to earlier, we'd really like to see the books opened up so that all students can see where their money is going every single month. We'd also like to encourage student organizations to apply early and to realize that not each and every single event will be funded in its entirety. However, we would like to work with those organizations after they've gone through the deliberations process, if they feel disgruntled or upset with what has happened, to really make sure that they leave with a positive feeling about the allocations committee and learn what they can do the next time to make sure that they get funding. Additionally, we would really like to work to further the work that Darius, the current allocations chair, has done, developing forums so students can come early to learn about how to write a budget and have that step-by-step process and guidelines there to help the whole process to be a lot more transparent and be more effective.
How will you ensure that the development of East Campus remains a gathering point for students and the community?
Haley and I have many ideas to make sure that East Campus stays the way it is with the culture that it is. So we think that it's a really great opportunity that the university is looking at proposals for outside companies to lease out East Campus for the next 30 years. We think that this is a good idea as long as the places that start leasing space on East Campus believe in the same things that Western believes, keeping Western's culture the same, keeping everything we believe in the same, and really just fitting into the culture. We think it's a good opportunity to start working with outside businesses and outside companies, and as long as students can still feel comfortable going to East Campus the way we do now.
Zach and I are incredibly excited about the opportunity that we are presented with East Campus. Currently, the university administration is seeking bids from outside contractors to come in, and after speaking with Lowell Rinker, our Chief Financial Officer here at WMU, he said that essentially what will happen is that an outside company can rent East Campus for $1 for the next 30 years, and they can go ahead and renovate East Campus. A couple of things that we'd really like to see when working with this organization, because this really looks like this will be the direction that the university will go. That way we're not using important student dollars or tuition dollars to pay for East Campus. First off, we want to make sure that East Campus becomes exciting and a center of campus. This is where the university started, and we'd like to bring students back there. We've heard from talking to students they'd also like to see a bus route going in between main campus and East Campus to make it more accessible for students. Additionally, we think this is a great way that we can bridge the gap between the Kalamazoo community and the students at Western. If we make it a student-centered place and also encourage community members to come and join us on East Campus, this could be a really great way to foster development and growth between WMU as a whole, the students, and the city of Kalamazoo.
We agree with what Lauren just said. We think this is a great opportunity. We think this is a great opportunity for students to be closer with the community. We also did hear the bus route idea, and that's a great idea to add a couple more bus stops. We heard from students from East Campus and some other RSOs that they would like us to bring life back to East Campus and the culture, possibly some homecoming events. So East Campus is kind of dead on some days, and we think that student life should be brought back there because that's where it started.
What are your thoughts on the implementation of differential tuition?
We think that differential tuition will be an exciting thing to look at over the next year. For those of you who don't know, the College of Fine Arts and the College of Business are implementing differential tuition, where their tuition rates will be different from the students on main campus. Or not necessarily just on main campus, but from other academic colleges. So the College of Fine Arts, they're gonna see an increase of, by semester, of approximately $750. They're gonna be paying $50 more per credit hour, and the College of Business will see an increase of $600 per semester, which means that they will have each credit hour at an additional $40 more than other students on campus. We think that this is important because it's going to not only reduce the amount of fees assessed, but it's also going to preserve and enhance the quality of the student experience. However, having said that, I think it's important that us as the WSA administration work closely and speak regularly with the students in the College of Business and in the College of Fine Arts to make sure that students can still afford their education and are not feeling disgruntled by this increase in tuition or feel like they're discriminated against.
We agree with what the Harriet Putnam Slate just said. We've been following the idea of differential tuition very closely. I was at the Board of Trustees meeting right before spring break where they approved differential tuition, so we really got a unique inside view on how that will work. We are in full support of the Board of Trustees passing differential tuition, firstly because the idea was originated from the dean of the two colleges where it's being implemented, and nobody knows best about those two colleges except the dean itself. Secondly, schools of business across the state, especially ones that are research universities, have differential tuition, so Western was actually sort of behind by not having that in comparison to some other research universities.
Adding to that, we are in full support of this because class fees will be eliminated for the students who are in the Hayward College of Business and the Fine Arts. More financial aid will be created due to the new revenue generated by this differential tuition.
One thing that we disagree with Aaron is that class fees are not necessarily eliminated. There might still be class fees. The differential tuition will just continue to provide a more affordable and a better education for the Hayworth College of Business as well as the College of Fine Arts. It's important to remember that both of these colleges are ranked nationally, and those programs are extremely important to this university. So going forward, we need to continue to listen to the voices of the students, and we need to remember that it's the better WMU as a whole.
With the introduction of the SFI this past fall, students now pay into a fund for sustainability initiatives. Do you feel that this money has been effectively and efficiently managed and used?
With the SFI being implemented this year, there has been a fund that could be spread out to different projects. We're not going to say that we don't think it's been used responsibly or in the right way, because we just don't know, and we think that a lot of students don't know as well. We think that because the SFI as a whole, when it was on the ballot last year as a ballot initiative, was so widely publicized, and when applications for the SFI route, it was so widely publicized, we think that what the money is spent on doing needs to be equally publicized, so every single student knows what the $4 per semester they're paying is going to. So to reiterate, we don't think that it's not being spent right, we just don't know and would like it if more students were aware of where the money is going.
I would say that there is a bit of a mix right now about the SFI being appropriately and responsibly used. First off, this past year with the WSA, our sustainability chair was able to offer $50,000 in sustainability grants. This was a great opportunity for the students and other student organizations to reach out to the WSA and really use these funds in really cool ways. For example, after talking with the Campus Beat, they would like to implement a student-run sustainable cafe on campus using homegrown and locally sourced products. Thus, we think that this money that we've been allocated through the SFI could be used very effectively, and we're excited to see where it goes. However, there is something where, like Aaron said, not a lot of students know how the money allocated to, for example, the Office of Sustainability has been used. We want to make sure that transparency is key with this process, and remember that we put this in place, we can take this away. So we should go ahead and evaluate where these dollars are being used. We should evaluate if they're being used effectively, and if necessary, revoke that money and possibly use it in different manners, such as through the $50,000 available in sustainability grants for students.
Like Lauren, we think there's great opportunities for the SFI to be used, such as with the Campus Beat. We actually spoke to them last night. They have great fresh ideas. We're excited to see them on campus. Back to transparency, similar to our allocations initiatives, we think that there should be an effective follow-up process for any student using any of the SFI money, so we can not only monitor that it's being spent effectively, but so we can share what they spent the money on with the rest of the student body.
Yeah.